So Laguna Beach, that's probably one of my favorite areas. It was actually one of the larger areas to cover in the mission. I would say, and I was there from May until the following February. So I was there for 9 months. This was my longest area. But during the summer months, it would easily take 30 minutes to go from one end of the area to the other, just because of traffic, and it was pretty widespread out. We had members at both ends of the area. But it was it's right there on the coast, definitely a large tourist town. I can't remember the number, but I know there's millions of people that come through every year. So in the summer, it was a little more tricky for, we had to plan it out more of where we were going to go track and stuff. Because if you went anywhere near downtown or anything, it's all just tourists and they're not from there. So that's kind of the first thing they just set off, like, oh, I'm not from here. I don't really want to. I'm on vacation. Leave me alone. So, but it was a very relaxed area. What I've noticed is it's actually a really happy community. A lot of people, I feel, is more compared to like my last area from Irvine. It seemed like none of the neighbors knew each other. Like nobody really interacted. It's kind of you drive home, close the garage door, and the same thing the next day. But whereas I felt in Laguna, like people knew their neighbors, they interacted with each other, they just were friendly, and I felt like when we were either like if we were doing service or we weren't in our proselyting clothes, people treated us differently. Like they were a lot more friendly. They would just kind of talk to us a little more. Whereas when we were in our white shirts, they kind of excluded themselves a little more. So it was a very friendly town. A lot of community. We felt the community was together a lot. But there were just a lot of good members there. This church was definitely growing strong. They actually, one of the unique things about it is they have their church there is really small. It was one of the first churches that were built in that area, and it covered originally a lot of ground before just the city of Laguna Beach. But it's a 2-level church. It's more of like a kind of a basement kind of feel or whatever. But the top layer has the chapel. And then that for their classes up there, they have dividers that close. So when they have their sacrament meeting, all of the dividers are open and they have a little small chapel area, and then where all the dividers are open, they have just chairs set up. And then when they change their meetings, they actually close the dividers, and they have classes in each one of those. And then all downstairs is the primary. So it's a very small building. So in the summertime, you have chairs set up. You have chairs set up really everywhere. They do have a room where they have a camera that shows the feed, and then they also have downstairs, they have people sitting down there in the primary that can listen to it. So it gets very crammed. It's very tight, but it's a very unique building. There's not really any other buildings that are created like it. And the parking lot only has about 15 to 20 parking spots, though. So it's very small. So a lot of people are parking on the street, or luckily right next to it, there's like a school district parking lot that they can use. That was the other cool thing about it was we had right across from the chapel was the high school. So you had there was actually a lot of youth in that ward. And usually they were really good about sharing the gospel. So a lot of people in the school knew who was LDS or not. One of the things that we do, I don't know if they still do it, but we would do what's called Mormonade, where we would set up on the parking lot or in the sidewalk right in front of the church with a table, and we would have usually like lemonade and cookies. And a lot of people, because they were doing it before I even was there, a lot of the high school students, they knew what it was. And so they would come over, and if you asked a question about the church, then you could get like a cup of lemonade or a cookie. And so you have, right when school came out, you had a ton of people that came over, they're all hungry. And you have really good questions where people are actually asking honest ones, and then you have ones that just want the lemonade and they ask, a stupid question. I think one of my favorite questions, though, that they asked was, why Chick-fil-A was closed on Sundays. And I told them we don't actually have anything to do with that, so I'm not sure what the answer is. So it was good. So we had a lot of, we would do it every week, so it became consistent. We had actually a lot of the same people coming back. And someone would be like, I don't know what a question is anymore. So we give them like a pamphlet or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, look through this and find a question that you have. So it was a unique opportunity just to interact with the youth there. And the youth that were members, they were just powerhouses there. They knew how to share the gospel. They weren't afraid to. They acted, as members of the church, and just they set a really good example for their friends, and definitely a lot of people that joined the church were youth, and because of the youth there. So I think in that area I definitely learned the importance of service. I felt like serving I learned was really important. It could be really influential. There was actually, and I think one of the major things that taught me that was there was a lady that we helped there that was originally a referral from a different set of elders. And they told us about this lady that needed help moving. And so we thought it was just going to be another move. We could show up, help move all the stuff, and that's it. But she was a non-member, so we thought maybe this could be good. Anyway, so we showed up about 8 in the morning, and nothing had been packed at all. And so everything was still out. She had a few boxes, but it was like a 2-bedroom apartment house. And so we were like, okay, well, this could be a long day. So anyway, so we just started packing and getting things together. We started to learn more about her, and she was a single mom that had a son, and her dad was also there helping as well. Anyways, but we found out that she had stage 4 cancer. And so she didn't have a lot of energy because of this, and she was trying to get all her stuff together. Long story short, we were finally able to get the move done about midnight that night. So it was an all-day project, moving from all of her appliances into a storage unit. She was moving with a friend for a little while. Anyway, so we probably saw them regularly for the next several months, actually, even to the point where I left the area and they still met with her. Anyways, eventually she did pass away because of the cancer, but it was a really good time to we got really close to this family and just were able to definitely lift in their brighten their faith. And we would go visit. She was in the hospital for usually months at a time, so we would go visit her there, and you could just see kind of the glow of her face when you were able to go see her, even though she was in so much pain. She was trying to hold strong, especially for her son, because she didn't want to leave him here. So fast forward again another few months. Eventually, actually, both her dad and her son got baptized, and they're still in and out of the church and still have a lot of different questions and stuff. But they definitely felt, a great fellowship from the church, because once we started it, then the members actually really came in and provided meals for the family and just helped in any way we could. They were living in a hotel at one point. We went and decorated their hotel for Christmas one time, and the members really just helped to step in. And so I think it really taught me just how important service is and just the difference it can make, whatever the outcome is. There were several experiences where I had just helping someone simple, and we never saw them again, but they were grateful for us to help them, and hopefully, they remember that in the future, and at the least, just make that person happy and change their day.